Have you ever needed to look up a court case, dig up a divorce record, or maybe even check a local arrest roster? If you have, you already know that government databases can feel like an absolute maze. Well, today, we are transforming that confusing labyrinth into a crystal clear map. Welcome to this comprehensive explainer on navigating Marion County's public record system. We're going to break down exactly how you can search these records online, completely for free, right from your couch.
Okay, so did you know that Marion County court records are essentially hiding in plain sight? Seriously, most people just assume that accessing official legal records requires, a law degree, expensive software, or wasting half your day standing in line at some courthouse clerk's office. But the reality, a massive amount of this data is freely available to the public. You just need to know which digital doors to knock on. So let's dive into this and unlock those doors together.
Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll decode Marion County records. Then, we'll look at portals and access points, followed by a step-by-step search guide. After that, we'll tackle overcoming search challenges, and finally, we'll wrap up with ethics, privacy, and limits. Let's get right to it.
Part 1. Decoding Marion County records. Now, to really understand these records, we first got to understand the jurisdiction itself. Marion County is Oregon's third most populous county, and crucially, it's home to Salem, the state capital. Because it's a key part of Oregon's unified state court system, the Marion County Circuit Court handles a massive, and I mean massive, volume of varied legal matters.
So, what kind of records are we actually talking about here? The Circuit Court basically handles information across four main pillars. First up, you've got criminal cases. That's your felonies, misdemeanors, and violations. Next are civil cases, which cover everything from major contract disputes all the way down to small claims under $10,000. Third is family law. So that's divorce, child custody, and support. And finally, probate matters, which deal with estates, wills, and conservatorships. Think about how incredibly practical this is. Let's say you're doing a little background research before hiring a new general contractor. You could actually check the civil index to see if they have a history of small claims disputes, or maybe you're verifying a potential landlord. For all of these categories, the basic index information, meaning the parties involved, the charges, the hearing dates, and the final outcomes, is generally available for free online.
Moving on to Part 2, portals and access points.
We really need to clear up a major point of confusion that trips up a lot of beginners. When people say they want to look up a record, they usually lump court documents in with police and jail records. But here's the thing, those actually live in totally different digital ecosystems. You have to match your search to the right branch of government. On the judicial side, we have court records. These are managed by the state's unified court system through the Oregon eCourt Case Information Portal, or OECI for short. That is exactly where you go for lawsuits, divorces, and trial dockets. But if you're looking for an immediate arrest log or trying to check the custody status of an inmate, you don't go to the court. You go to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, which runs a completely separate system called the Web Jail Viewer.
Let's actually look a bit closer at that Web Jail Viewer for a second. This is a free portal that works as a real-time tracking tool for people currently housed in the Marion County Jail or the Transition Center. The absolute key takeaway here is that this is for current, immediate tracking, not for digging up historical trial documents. Oh, and a quick but really important side note, because of Oregon House Bill 3273 as of January 1st, 2022, booking photos, what we usually call mugshots, are no longer provided on this jail roster.
All right, Part 3, Step-by-Step Search Guide.
For this walkthrough, we're going to focus purely on the judicial side, finding those court records. I'm going to give you a highly reproducible, guided breakdown so absolutely anyone can do a free search on the Oregon eCourt portal. Step 1, Initiation. Just navigate over to webportal.courts.oregon.gov. The best part? No login, no account creation required. It just loads right into an anonymous public dashboard. Step 2, Filtering. You're going to look for a Select a Location drop-down menu and choose Marion. This is absolutely vital, otherwise you'll be endlessly searching the entire state of Oregon. Step 3, Selection. Choose whether you're searching by a specific case number or a party's name. Step 4, Input. Now, if you are searching by name, pay attention here because the system is super picky. It requires the exact format of last name, first name, like Smith, John. A pro tip from our sources, if you use a wildcard search with an asterisk, you still have to enter at least one letter of the first and last name, or the system will just crash you with way too many results. Finally, Step 5, Interpretation. Hit Search, and you'll get a list of results. Click on the hyperlinked case number, and that opens up the Register of Actions showing you the timeline of events, hearings, and the final disposition of the case.
Okay, Part 4, Overcoming Search Challenges.
So, that search process sounds pretty easy, right?
But just like with any database, you are probably going to hit a few roadblocks, and we need to manage expectations so you don't get frustrated. While the metadata, the index of the case, the dates, the charges, is free, the actual scanned PDF documents of the court filings are not available on that free anonymous tier. If you want the full text, you need something called OJCIN, the Oregon Judicial Case Information Network. That's a subscription-based service mostly used by lawyers and private investigators. But hey, if you just want to read those full documents and you don't want to pay for a subscription, there is a great workaround. You can actually just visit the physical Marion County Courthouse down in Salem and use their public access kiosks entirely for free.
There is another reality of public records you need to know about, and that's certification costs. If you need a certified copy of a document, let's say a divorce decree or a small claims judgment that you need to show in another legal setting, that is not going to be free. Under Oregon statute, grabbing a certified copy will run you $5 for the first page and 25 cents for every page after that. Just something to keep in your back pocket if your research requires official stamped paperwork from the clerk's office.
And finally, Part 5, Ethics, Privacy, and Limits.
Look, whenever we're talking about digging into the legal histories and personal lives of other people, we have a real responsibility to understand the ethical guardrails here. The Oregon Judicial Department actually puts out a very explicit warning about this. They state that the displayed information is not the official Oregon Register record, and individuals should not use this system for background checks. Why? Well, because this free tier gives you very limited personal identifying information. It's usually just a first and last name. That makes it incredibly easy to mistake one John Smith for a completely different John Smith. This data is strictly for informational purposes, so relying on it to officially screen a tenant or an employee is actually a misuse of the system.
It really comes down to a constant, delicate balancing act between public transparency and legal compliance. Not every record stays public forever, and for good reason. For instance, juvenile cases, adoptions, and mental health cases are highly restricted. Plus, if someone successfully goes through the legal process of having their record expunged, which basically erases a conviction under Oregon law, those records are rightfully and permanently scrubbed from public access on these portals. Transparency is a great thing, absolutely, but so is the right to privacy and the opportunity for a second chance.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. We live in an era of unprecedented digital access, where years and years of someone's legal history can be pulled up with just a few quick keystrokes. So how do we perfectly balance our need for public transparency with an individual's right to privacy? These Marion County online portals give us an unbelievably powerful tool for civic engagement and research. But with that kind of access comes the real responsibility to use the information accurately and ethically. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this guided walkthrough. I really hope this deep dive into Marion County's public records empowers you in your own research. Keep learning, stay curious, and I will see you in the next explainer.